No, but I mean, I think with this, I mean, let's just, I guess, just to keep going here, I think it's some degree like of absurdity, you know, like something that's just so against the norm, and something just doesn't make sense, you know. Um,
I
and
think
I can't
Manzi
really put it
unmuted his
into
mic again,
words.
Orlando.
What was that?
Nancy
Manzi
unmuted his
unmuted
mic.
his mic again.
Okay.
He has released the beast.
All right, Manzi, that's
But
cool.
but we can hear each other, so don't worry.
You didn't want to hear me talk. That's what it was. Hey, try logging in on your phone, Manzi.
The topic for today is sense of humor, which is very humorously right now. How people are refusing to talk. Thank
Okay.
you, Morales. Oh my God, you shine my day. You can speak. Thank you so much.
Um, yeah. For me, I think that humor is really subjective,
Hmm.
and I don't think it's for everyone because there's some jokes that can be really offensive to some people, and to other people that can be really funny. So I feel like is humor something that we should watch out for, or should it
Hmm.
just be like a free range thing? Like there's actually this like really controversial thing going on TikTok right now about this military guy who made a joke that was very considered racist. And there's like this whole debate going on in the military right now if he should get like honor honorary discharge. And so like to some extent is humor subjective, or is this such thing as being like, do we have to watch out what we say in order for things to be considered funny? Like I don't know. This is the question. Like, do we have to watch out what we say sometimes to not offend people?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's very interesting because some of the, at least interesting to me, aspect of comedy is that it always comes with a little, a bit of the truth. So that's why sometimes people are so like, some jokes can be too polemical because it's a very subjective way to even sell an idea. And it takes some time, sometimes even a certain skill to not get offended by jokes, even though you do know that it is not aimed for you. So it kind of connects to you in a deeper sense that you may not realize. Um, yeah, give me a second. My God. Wait.
What
Okay.
happened?
Static. Anyways, it's okay. It's better now. Okay. So that, yeah, for me that's, and it is interesting that you bring that up because there are many comedians who get like, you see again the static. Okay, there you go. It's Nancy trying to connect. This is one of the disadvantages of having something like this. It expands what I hear like way too crazy. Um. Anyways, I was talking about TikTok. Um. And comedians, they sometimes get blasted for trying to be funny, even though like they may improvising a topic or something to some extent that they're not meaning to hurt, but some people get offended because they feel like it is aimed toward like themselves, when it isn't. And I guess this is what John was bringing up, that we may perceive some jokes inappropriate to some extent, not because they're not funny, but it's because of like the place where you mention it.
Well, I think that's kind of the thing about comedy. What I was trying to say earlier is like it involves some kind of absurdity or like extreme of like outside the norm, and I think that's where some people can't draw the line, and so they'll go and they'll say like the wildest thing and expect, you know, they don't know what to expect from the audience. You know, they just go out on a limb. And for some people who I guess take it too serious, they will get offended, while others will find it funny. And so I guess that's why you can say like it kind of is a talent in a sense that you have to kind of know where your audiences, how to read the room, like who exactly is going to take the joke how. Because there's a lot of comedians out there nowadays who literally their whole skit is just going like insane. Like that's literally their skit, and it's like, man, you do have to kind of have
As-
some kind of bravery to do that.
yeah.
So I don't
And to push the limit so far, because some people they say things that are very, very bad, like they're like insane, but the way they say it, it makes it seems like it is fun. Yes, Morales.
Can I throw something out there?
Uh, is his mic on?
yeah, it's
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
No, yes, we
Can you
can.
actually hear me?
Yes.
Thank goodness. All right. Well, let me just throw something out here. Again, apologies for the technical difficulties. Glad we got it smoothed out. Just to provide some context for this topic. Last week we talked about beauty, and the idea was that a lot of people are familiar with that really cliched quote that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and it brought us to a conversation about how you get a sense of beauty, an aesthetic kind of sensibility. Like, is beauty something that is subjective versus objective, or is there a lot more nuance to it? And so what this topic is, it's kind of a continuation of the previous. We picked one particular genre of art. Instead of just talking about beauty and art in different art forms, we picked one, comedy. Comedy is I think, unique form of art because it requires, again, a sense of what's humor. Kind of going on what Orlando was saying a moment ago. And so I'm wondering, where does a sense of humor come from? How is it that human beings develop, and everybody uniquely, individually, it seems, how do we develop our own sense of what is funny? Just like last week, we talked about how do we develop our own sense of what we take to be beautiful versus not so beautiful. Art we like versus art we don't like, in tastes. Well, let's pick a taste in comedy, for instance. So again, we're just getting more specific based upon last week. But that is an interesting question. Where do you think your sense of humor came from?
Yes, Maria.
Yes.
Please. She's just.
I was just really no. I think that a sense of humor is like you said. Where does it come from? Well, it would come from wherever you grew up. So something I might find offensive, you won't find offensive at all. And so I think it's just about situational. Like, for example, there's a lot of comedians who are they roast politicians, and that's their thing. You can see it all over the news. You can see there's a bunch of politicians like Hassan Minaj. There's just many comedians who roast politicians, and one political party might not find that funny, and the other might. So it's just depending on what you believe and how you were grown up. Not everyone has the same ideology because they weren't all grew up the same. We weren't all raised the same. So it just depends on where you're coming from and how you were raised and what's wrong and what's right, type of thing for your own self. So I think it's more about morality than anything. They go hand in hand.
No, that's fascinating. Okay. Yeah, comedy and morality. I like that connection.
Yeah, good stuff. So yes, but I think we are also directing it too much into just the comedy aspect, but not too much of how we use comedy in our lives, because there is also a different type of comedy whenever you have to be in the stand-up thing and having to know what can be funny for the audience. But we don't do comedy just that way. There are many ways to do comedy. Sometimes we do it to try to pick up a girl, hey girl, it's so funny. Oh my God, there you go. So it's kind of like a game thing. It's seemingly, I don't know anything about it.
You're really good at it.
Is that how you do it, Fernando? Is that how it goes?
Yeah, well, there has to be a way. But the point is, you can use comedy for that. You can use comedy just to engage with people, and sometimes you don't have to use comedy at all, but you do use it with yourself. I laugh a lot about myself all the time. Every time I messed up, I laugh. Even when I'm stressed, I laugh a lot. But I use it sometimes even as a defensive mechanism. Whenever I'm in a lot of pain, I try to make out of the pain something that makes me laugh, so I can endure it and see it from a different perspective that allows me to learn from it better. Okay, but Marcus, the OG.
Hey, tell me if you hear any rain or thunder. I'm sitting in the garage. Tell me if you can. Can you hear it?
I can hear the echo.
All right. Well, that's good enough. All right. So I want to talk about what humor and laughter, what it does to humans, and seeing other humans laugh, and then laughing with them, what that does to the relationship there. And I want to say it's almost as universal, or it's almost as universal, if not exactly as much as crying, as seeing someone cry, and then sharing that same thing with them. I think it's something that doesn't require words. You understand? Whenever if someone visits America, they don't speak a lick of English though, but then they see someone bust out laughing, they understand the emotion, they understand what's happening there, and they almost share a moment with them without even communicating at all. Or you're passing a stranger on the street, you don't know any language, but you see them crying, bawling their eyes out. Again, it reaches you on a level that languages don't, like. It's like math, okay, but for feelings. I feel like they're both each of the two sides to the same coin, almost. Obviously, one's and here's another thing. There's also good and bad to each of them, is there not? There's good laughter, and then there's bad laughter, and then there's good crying, and then there's bad crying. Good laughter can be considered, people sharing a good moment together, but then bad laughter can be considered people thinking, or a scapegoat, really. People are using a scapegoat to get the laughter or humor aspect out of there. So it's almost a cheat code of humor, you will. But then crying, there's sad crying, and then there's happy crying. But just like that, again, it's about how you use it too. You can use you can use humor in a good way, in a supportive way, or you can use it in a aggressive and what's the word? Mean. There's a word.
Mean. Yeah.
Anyway, with malice, you can use it with malice, okay? Which we've all experienced, being teased, etc. Someone else gets a laugh out of it, but you obviously don't, which makes you feel like shit. It's like, well, humor, it's a good thing, but yeah, not for me when I'm the one being laughed at. So I don't know. There's something cool about. I like just the ability for humans to like look at someone else and then nothing is said or anything, but then there's an understanding, and I feel like humor has the ability to do it. Physical humor. This is the thing. Physical humor is exactly that. No words are spoken. It's like, it's like the Three Stooges and Charlie Chaplin, Abbott and Costello, all these guys, is a lot of physical humor, and it reaches across the entire board. I think that's a unique human experience.
Just to bounce something off you. I mean, I think what's interesting is that we're talking about, you and Fernando, we're talking about, here are the different functions of humor. Sometimes it's therapeutic. Sometimes it's simply for amusement. Sometimes it's stress relief. But the thing about humor is that, again, you have to have a sort of sense of what is going to be appropriate or what's going to land, it seems. So, for example, if you feel like your friend is down in the dumps or whatever, has the blues, and you make a joke at their expense, you're like, well, we can laugh together, and then your friend doesn't laugh. Or your friend says, I know that's funny, but I don't feel like laughing. Well, then you could say humor, quote unquote, didn't work. So it does come down to this sense of, and not just what you find funny, but somehow having an understanding of what others will find funny. Now, when Vivian, you were talking about kind of being raised in similar environments with other people, you develop a commonality, like a kind of common sense of, what's right and what's wrong and what's funny and what isn't. I think there might be something to that, especially when you consider, again, the way that media shapes our perception, not just of what's good and bad, of right and wrong, but also of what is and is not humorous. I mean, so when I say, where do you get your sense of humor, where your comedic sensibilities lie, I think to a large extent it has to do with, again, your surroundings and sort of going back to another point that I'd like to revisit. I think it's tied into what you find to be taboo. I think what makes something funny has to do with its sort of bordering on an immoral or inappropriate expression of something. I mean, Nietzsche famously said that humans are the animal that laughs. And without going too far into that quote, he's suggesting, and again, he's doing it, playfully, he's suggesting that there's something that requires a real sense of awareness in order to get a joke or to understand why something is funny. And that doesn't happen in a vacuum. Humor develops out of a broader context of what is acceptable and unacceptable. Again, right and wrong and X, Y, and Z. What's so funny, no pun intended, is that humor plays with that tension and exposes it. That's what art does.
Yes. I would now, Kenya wanted to say something. I don't know if you lose your thoughts since he extended.
I was just going to say, going back to what...
How dare you, Ferdinand?
I have to tease someone today.
Going back to what Mark said about how crying and humor are kind of the same thing because they require empathy. And there's also like a duality of crying and of finding something funny, because even though it requires empathy, some people would argue that something can't be funny if it's not offensive. So I think that also like ties back to what Professor Ramsey was saying, how humor is an art, but art is also like, it's cultural, but it also can be manipulated in a bad way.
Yeah.
I kind of want to just say something real quick. I like what Kenya just said, and like Marcus and Vivian were saying, that like what Marcus was saying, and what I liked what he said, like it's kind of instantaneous. It's not something that's like voluntary. It just happens, you know. You just find it funny, and so like it seems to be either momentary. Like something that can be funny today isn't necessarily funny tomorrow. So it's like it's not very formulaic in that sense. And like with what Vivian was saying about morality, it's like first you have to have that norm to like be outside of it. And so I think like for me, I kind of ask myself, is it necessary to like not take myself too serious? Because then if I do, then like I feel like I'm living in a very stiff kind of way, like a very stiff kind of form of life. But when I can laugh at something that other people might not find as funny, when I can not take myself as serious, you know, I feel like life is a little bit easier to get by.
I do agree.
I kind of wanted to add to like what Kenya said and like what everyone's saying about humor. I think humor is just like everything. It's just of like what you find culturally acceptable. So if you find something like for example, the Mona Lisa, some people find it like it's the most beautiful piece of art. Culturally, like it's a really popular piece of art, and it's very like really loved by a lot of people. But someone who might not be into that type of art like someone who's into graffiti might find that like the Mona Lisa's too not the most beautiful painting they've ever seen. So I think it's just subjective of what you can find, what you can consider funny and humorous. And like Mark was saying, like it's not funny when someone tries to ridicule you and make fun of you as humor. You know, there's a difference between humor and then there's a difference between bullying. Like if you're making fun of someone and that's your only defense of making fun of them, that's not really funny. You're just pointing at the obvious. That's not really humorous because it doesn't take effort. Like calling someone ugly or all these other things, it doesn't take effort. Like, come on, wow, like you pointed out the obvious. So I think humor you have to be like smart with it. You have to be able to know how to use the words and stuff. Like it's not something like there's a lot of people who like they roast other people and it's just based on looks. Well, you didn't do something there. It was just something that everyone was thinking, but we weren't saying it. You know, type of thing. Like,
Well,
like
is
it's
that
something
always the
that.
case?
Yeah.
Because like I think you kind of said it yourself. Even when you roast someone, other people will laugh. So I don't think it's necessarily like it has to be
yeah,
clever.
but like people laugh and it's funny, but was it really funny or was it just something that was obvious? Like, was it humorous or was it something that it was
Well,
just
I
seen
don't
as?
What if
I
it's
don't
just the
think it's
simplest form of
obvious. I
humor?
think that sometimes it's like you make a connection that it was there and you didn't notice it until somebody pointed out. Because
Yeah,
if it's
Yeah, no.
obvious, it wouldn't be something to laugh at because it's like, yeah, well, we saw it coming, you know. I think.
Well, like what I think is just like I was like trying to piggyback off Mark. It's just like sometimes humor is seen as like this thing that can be easily produced, but it's not easily produced. Like going back to the whole comedian thing, it takes people time, and it's kind of an art that you have to manipulate so that it can reach certain target audiences. Because someone who likes fluffy might not like another comedian. So it's just about you have to like know your audience and what's considered funny and everything. I don't know.
Yeah. I do agree with you. It takes a specific skill and observation. Um, because even the flow of this conversation today at first it was kind of like there was a tension and you can feel it, you know, and now it's more like it goes helps the whole communication to go better. And I do think that the same happens with humor. Sometimes even the most bright joke of all may not reach the audience properly because of the environment. And I think my internet is a little bit slow, but as long as you hear me, I'm fine. So yes, I do agree with what you're saying. And I'm always surprised, like, for example, and I think Marcos did touch this in one time. Sometimes it happens that I read a joke and I don't find it funny, but then I read the same joke and I do find it funny. And like the joke didn't change, but I changed, and it makes me have a response out of it that it wasn't there before. Yes, John.
So sort of piggybacking off what Vivian was talking about, and she's brought it up a couple of times. We talk about, or she's talking about how humor is culturally influenced and is heavily reliant upon your upbringing, but holistically, as just a species, so to speak, haven't we used humor going back quite a ways to sort of act as a unifying factor amongst different cultural groups and across different cultural groups as a way of sort of bridging those gaps, even if we go back as far back as you want to, be it the Stone Age or anything like that, even though obviously the communication was different, whatever they considered a form of humor versus what we do, but it still gave them an opportunity to look across a boundary that they saw and say, hey, maybe they'll think this is funny, or hey, I laughed at something they did. They kind of looked at me. I don't know if they're going to kick the shit out of me, but maybe if we talk through it, we'll both find something funny there.
Yeah, I think I like that because it's kind of true. I mean, it's kind of like similar to beauty in a sense, is that like we might not all agree that one thing is funny, but it's like there's something universal about a comedian's ability to reach a lot of people, you know, because in like all different kinds of races might find a different, like one comedian funny. And it's like sometimes it's just situational, you know, when you go into like maybe an important business meeting, everybody's stiff, everybody's like all, you know, to themselves, and someone just lays down like an awesome joke. It's going to liven the room up. Everybody's going to relax. They're just going to feel at home. Why? Because of the comedy. So it's like sometimes it can be formulaic in a sense that it's all about the situation or the circumstance, not necessarily like your background.
But would it not be funnier if somebody laid down a joke and then nobody laughed?
Unless it was
I mean,
Schopenhauer,
that's
then it was
that's
still
a different
funny.
type of humor.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get at. It's I mean, that's the thing about humor. It's like many forms of art that are really rooted in human interaction. It's pervasive. Let me throw something else at you. You know, playing off of what Orlando said. Have you ever gotten into not a debate, but have you ever had a conversation and tried to argue that something is funny objectively, regardless of what maybe your friend thinks or maybe your parents think or something?
To try to explain the joke.
Well, I mean, the point being is that it could be, you know, a movie or anything. But if you find something to be, I guess, comedically satisfying, what you're really saying is that it speaks to you, again, this is to Orlando's point and John's, it speaks to you on a level that is, I guess, spontaneous, and in a way that is, you know, you can't deflect it, you can't shield it. Laughter is something that happens instantaneously. Even when you don't want to laugh, sometimes you can't help it. So if you consider that sort of weird phenomenon, I think what you have to conclude on some level is that things that you find funny, you tend to take in a way that's personal. This is also why I think, going back to the previous example, comedy is tied to things like roasting or bullying or, you know, busting chops with your friends and stuff like that. I mean, there is something to that. However, again, if the culture changes, to Vivian's points, can laughter die? Is it possible for the comedy art to suffer if there are certain political situations or social situations that keep artists from becoming talented, from becoming good comedians or comics?
Yeah.
Yes, Vivian.
I also wanted to like say something about what you said about like how you read a joke and you didn't think it was funny the first time, and you reread it and you're like, oh, this is actually pretty funny. That has something to do with like feelings, like also like growing up, and that has an influence, but also feelings is something that might influence that. Like for example, I had 2 dogs and they both ran away together, right? And like we built them a little house. It was like they ran away together. Anyways, people started making jokes about that. They're like, your dogs ran away, and I was like, okay. At first, like, you know, if you would have told me.
That's funny.
If you
Eh?
would have told me,
Okay.
if you would have told me like the day that they ran away.
Kenya is laughing too.
I don't know. It's so funny to me.
Okay.
Anyways, if you would have told me that the day that they ran away, I would have probably not laughed. But now, like, I'm like, wow, like they ran away. It's pretty funny. So I think it's just about feeling too, like
Yeah.
how you're feeling something, you know. I don't know.
Yeah, like the mood you're in. Yeah.
Okay. So that actually that also shows up a little bit of how different can it be. For example, for me, I'm international student, so the term of like running away, I was just even trying to understand how they run away from. It's like they just run away in the house. Like I know they run away from the house. Like okay, this is like a direction. Like right now. Um, so it is interesting how like somebody's agreeing with you, Orlando. I,
Fernando, I kind of have a question here. Like,
yes,
so
please.
do you guys think that like maybe then humor is kind of, in a sense, not necessarily, but can be a choice, like, or maybe like depending on the person you are, because you know, like how you guys are saying, you know, your dogs ran away or something about a dog ran away. Like some other people would choose to be sad, like right off the bat, but you might choose to laugh. So it's like, isn't that kind of like have to do with how, the kind of person that you are, and maybe in some instances that can be kind of a good thing. I don't know.
I
Sometimes, I
think
mean, uh, okay. I mean, for
I
me,
think it kind of has
sometimes.
to. No,
No, no,
I
you
think
do
it kind of
first.
has to.
Oh,
I go first, but not you.
No, you go
Okay.
first. You go first.
Okay.
It's fine.
Thank you. Um, no, for me, for example, like it happens a lot. Yeah, way more. Like sometimes people are upset, like really angry, and I make them laugh being angry, and they don't want to laugh. They still laugh, but they don't want to laugh. You know, I don't think they're choosing to. There's just like a natural response out of it. But sometimes I do believe that it's a choice. Sometimes like you just like I might as well just have fun. Which is also happened like forever. I don't know. You miss your wallet and you don't have anything to go, and you just kind of like okay, whatever. I'm just gonna
yeah.
do the best out of what I can. But go ahead, Vivian. No, please go.
No, it's fine. I was kind of like gonna say something like what Orlando said, like, you know, it depends on what type of person you are. I mean, at first I cried, you know, I was like, oh my god, my dogs, they escaped, I don't have them anymore. But now I'm just like, it's pretty funny, like, you know, they like teamed up, and I try to use it as a coping mechanism. So, you know, it's like, oh, like they teamed up, it was pretty funny. It was like they elaborated together. So it's kind of like what type of person you want to be. Like, do you want to be a pessimistic, or do you want to be optimistic? Do you want to like laugh at something, or do you want to be crying like every time you bring it up? So it's up to you what kind of person you are, to be honest, too. Because I'm not gonna be like crying. Like, I mean, I cried the first time, but it's not something I'm gonna keep on being sad about. You have to look at the positive of things, in my perspective. So I think it's all perspective.
I agree with
Well, like,
what
Yeah.
you're saying. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I mean, I was just gonna do one comment, and
No.
then you can take it. Then
No.
after that, I would try to. Anyways, the point is like I do agree, but I also feel like I do have to bring out something that Marco said, and I also think Kenya said it, that humor, even though it is normally associated with positiveness, sometimes people use it to feel bad about it. So sometimes, like I do agree that you may choose like whether to have a positive aspect or negative view of a situation, but sometimes humor you even use it to bring yourself down, and it's something that we have to be careful. But yes, Kenya, go ahead. Yeah.
Basically what you're saying, how like the common denominator with what we find funny or how we use humor is that it's a tool. Like I think you, Fernando, and Vivian, that you guys were like going on to say how you use it as a coping mechanism when something is sad, or that's just like how you deal with things going on in your life. Or people use it as a tool to offend someone or put someone down. Or also, most people just use it to connect, because we connect through finding something like relatable. And people use it as a tool to feel accepted or validated, because someone will say something just to see how many people will laugh and find it funny.
That's a good point, Kenya, because like I kind of want to circle back around to another question. Is like, I know you were saying, Fernando, that it can have like some negative effects, but isn't it in general like, don't we all just like to laugh? Like
Yes.
even the most negative person, don't they enjoy to laugh? Now, isn't that something interesting? Because there's some people that will say, well, I don't necessarily like to smile. I don't like to be happy, quote unquote. But I think we can really all agree we enjoy to laugh. I mean, who would argue against that? And why is
Yeah.
that the case?
Well, what about Kim Jong Un? Do you think he likes to laugh?
Yes. Kim, that
Yeah,
was
a
wrong.
lot.
He's just
So I think
serious. He just
A
goes.
lot. I mean, doesn't he say that he doesn't poop? Come on, there
Yeah,
has some humor there.
a
Jesus.
little bit. Yeah.
just to kind of answer that question, I think it's because in some sense it's kind of an escape from normalcy. You know, it's like we can just laugh at something. You know, isn't it just awesome to laugh? You know, I don't know.
Can I build off that? Yeah, because I think you're bringing up an interesting point here. This idea that maybe humor can sometimes be abused, and what I mean is the following. Like you said, it takes you out of the normal, it takes you out of the reality of the situation. You can distance yourself, you know, the coping mechanism point that Vivian made. You can distance yourself from a situation by making jokes about it. But if you lead on that too often, everything is a joke. If your only reaction is a joke, you're going to lose touch with the reality of the situation. You're going to lose touch with your true emotions on things. And so I think Vivian has a point. You know, you don't want to cry about it every time you think of your dead dogs or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, you know, maybe you shouldn't laugh about it every time either. And so I like that you said that you cried once and then kind of moved on from it. But I worry. There's sometimes where I meet people and I hang out and it's just like, wow, you only know how to approach the world through humor, through comedy, and I don't know if that's necessarily healthy. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well,
Yeah.
I think a balance between.
Vivian wanted to talk.
Well, yeah, no, I kind of wanted to like add out. I kind of wanted to add on to like the whole comedy thing, like, well, like make 2 points and then kind of talk about what the professor said. You know, our generation, like, I'm in Generation Z, and I feel like our generation makes everything a joke. They made the whole pandemic a joke. You know, calling it Miss Rona V, Miss Pandemica. You know, giving it nicknames,
wow.
trying to liven it up. Like they were like, you know, we need to make this as funny as possible because you know, like we're in a pandemic. Like, you know, how often does that happen? You know, every 100 years a pandemic is happening. So, you know, they try to make a joke out of it. So I feel like comedy is used to relieve some like tension. Like if we're always having to be serious and we are always having to be like if we always take everything too seriously, it can stress us out too much and lead to like many other things. But I did want to like talk about what he said about like if you like just use comedy like all the time, you kind of lose a reality with your other, like you lose reality, like touch of reality. Well, like sometimes like not everything can be a joke, you know. That like dogs, it's not the same thing as, you know, like making fun of a whole, like of the Holocaust, or it's not the same thing as making fun of people dying or starvation and stuff like that. That is like where the line is drawn. You know, like you can't be making a joke about everything. But you can make things that you feel like will be funny and kind of relieve some tension. Like, you know, I like to be quirky sometimes when I meet people so that it really tension, because when people don't know, they're usually very tense and they're like, oh my God, like, you know, what can I do? What can I say? So I throw jokes around saying like to use it as like to relieve tension and to not make it so awkward and tense. So
Vivian, you are on mute. Can you repeat that? No, I think you're right. I think you're making a really valid point there. It's challenging because again, sometimes you can't help when you laugh, and those moments, I think, when people laugh alone, I think are moments of I would say pure relief, usually, because usually you're laughing over something that was bothering you for a while. I think that's like a healthy form of laughter that doesn't require an audience, or it doesn't require you to write a joke. You interpret a situation differently, and then you respond differently. This is why I think people's tastes in comedy can change. I mean, what did you find funny as a child? It's probably not the same stuff you find funny now. I mean, that doesn't happen by accident. And like any other art, you can try to deepen your understanding of the different genres and subgenres, or you can just be content to laugh whenever somebody around you makes a joke, and that's it.
Yeah. But I know Phillips also wanted to say something.
Oh, please.
Philip. No, nothing. I cannot tell if your mic is mute, but I cannot hear you. Or maybe I'm the one who is mute and nobody can hear me.
No,
Yeah,
you're not.
how about now?
He doesn't have a mic showing.
Yeah,
He's
he
talking now, I
has.
think.
Can you
Yes,
guys hear me?
a little bit.
Philip,
All right.
you there?
Can you hear me?
A little bit.
We can hardly hear you. Yeah.
All right.
But, all right. I'll try fixing it, then I'll get back to you guys.
But I can hear you now.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So I've kind of gotten the vibe that there's a lot of agreement that humor is subjective, right? And there's a lot of vehicles that comedy can, serve. But I think one of the most important or sacred of the vehicles that comedy serves is speaking truth to power, right? Because you think back historically and the roles that humor has helped society. No one could make fun of the king except for the jester, right? No one could speak that unspoken truth that everyone kind of knew but couldn't really say, except for the comedian.
Yeah.
No, it's a really good
That's a
point.
great point. Yeah.
And I think it kind of goes along with just like how you said, just speaking truth to power is like maybe there's some things you shouldn't say, like how you shouldn't say certain things to the king, and that's why like the jesters kind of were funny back then, because they were able to say inappropriate things about the king no one else was. And so like I think a lot of that still exists today, especially with satirical like political comedy. But yeah.
So
what if they laugh too loud?
if that one time the one time the king doesn't laugh, the jester gets.
You're dead.
Well, I mean, is there something like that happening nowadays? I mean, who's the king of comedy?
Well,
If you make a joke, yeah, I mean,
Manzi, you made a really good point too. Like you were saying, like what if society can get rid of this humor, and like you look at places like maybe Russia where it's so censored, and like there's comedians can't really come out, even musicians can't come out and rail against Putin, and so it's like I think that's a possibility. I think that was something interesting. So
yeah, because it can be used also to rally people to conscientize things that they may be aware of, but they are not completely like taken into consideration. So it is indeed a powerful tool. Yes, Vivian. And please, Nancy, don't speak. Okay, go ahead, Vivian.
No, I'm reading like the comment, like the chat section.
I'm joking.
I was reading the chat section, and like there's like two people in the chat section like that are saying like, well, cartoons, like when you go back to them, they're as funny, or like when rewatching them when you're like from when you were a kid. And I kind of have to like agree that your comedy does change. And again, going back to a point that was made, that your comedy does change. Like, one of my favorite memes of all time when I was younger was like a meme of Kermit the Frog throwing himself off the building after a little girl was singing the alphabet. And now that I watch that, I don't think it's as funny as I did when I first saw it. So I think that your sense of humor does change as you grow up, or as you say, like it doesn't eventually plateau. Like you're always changing as a human being, so it won't just hit one point and stay there. I think your humor is always changing. And another point that was made was about like comedians needing to set apart their emotions. Well, like if we set our emotions apart from what we do, like you can't do that. Like you can't set your emotions apart from anything. You do everything with emotions, unless you're a sociopath and have no emotions, but you do everything with emotions. Like you can't just make a choice without an emotion. I mean, you can try to be as logical as you can, but some emotions will come into play when making a decision where it comes to comedy or just a life decision.
Well, I think what he was like, I kind of agree with what he was saying. Now I look at it is like, maybe in some ways you need to like let go of certain fears or certain like things that could hold you back from saying something. I think that's what I understand from what he was saying.
I don't. Maybe he's meaning that. Um, but I mean, I do agree with Vivian in the sense that you cannot completely get out of the emotion. So because for you to consider something might be funny, there has to be some emotion in you to do that. You know, you cannot just be like, this is gonna be funny, and you don't even find it yourself funny. Like there has to be something. Um,
I don't know. You'd be surprised. There's some
Yeah,
I think there's comedians that do that actually, and they're pretty good.
well,
really?
the other thing also is, I mean, how many times have you ever heard somebody say, I know what you're going through might stink right now, but pretend it wasn't happening to you. Isn't this a funny situation? And I think the idea is that with humor, it's a deflection from your emotions. You're able to sort of, again, keep things at an emotional arm's length for the sake of, again, sort of making these observations. I mean, observational humor seems as just that. You just observe the world around you and you're kind of detached from it. It seems like.
Alrighty. Well, we're 4:33. So, what do you guys think?
I mean, the topic is coming hot. No, I mean, we established last week that we're gonna have the next week like topic free of the theme that we were deciding. Is that what we decided last week?
Yeah,
I
this is
think-
gonna be a free. Like, we're gonna vote on a topic this week, I think. So, if you guys have any topic suggestions, you can go into the chat and type them out, and we will vote and see which one will win.
I also had a question about the meeting dates. So are they
Ooh.
every Tuesday or every Thursday?
Yes, every Tuesday, like every 2 day
Yes.
from 3:30 to 4:30.
All right, thank you.
From 3:47 to whenever.
Yeah, or whenever the technology allows us to.
There
Yeah,
you go.
sometimes we go overboard. Like sometimes we're talking way too much. But yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, but
anybody with topic suggestions, put them in the
I'll
chat.
throw out a topic suggestion real quick. Maybe like senses and the soul. Like what connects them? What's the difference? So on and so forth.
Soul on and soul forth.
Ha 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 ha.
ha ha ha. Let me express better my laughter. Ha ha.
Please don't. That's censorship if you mute me.
That was funny. You see, it's very clear.
I can't tell the difference between real laughter and fake laughter.
Oh,
So
this
when you
is real.
sense that I'm going for laughter, just give me what I'm after.
Okay, so anyways, if you have any topic you want to speak next week, you can let us know, write it there, then we vote on it. And as long as you're not Nancy, you have chances to win. That's how it works. So yeah. Um, for me, actually, I don't think I have a topic. I may have one. Um,
Gosh. All right. Well, crap.
I mean, I've got plenty.
okay,
Go ahead,
throw
man.
them out. I mean, we already know you're gonna lose, but go ahead. Yeah, please be. Maybe one of your questions incentivize other people to ask other topics, you know.
Maybe one of my students can like defend my honor. You're letting this guy. Come on, students, where are you? All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Again, playing off of the themes of the last two meetings. So we had beauty. So like, what is your sense of beauty? We did comedy. What is your sense of comedy? I think another topic could be something like, well, tragedy. It's the other side of the ancient arts. I mean, we talked about how we use comedy to help us cope with tragedy. That's kind of what everybody seemed to be getting at. So maybe we talk about tragedy. What is it? Why is it a form of art?
Yeah.
Is it?
I mean, okay. I mean, that can be one idea. I could,
I posted one in
that
the chat.
that can be
You
one
guys see it?
idea, I guess. Yes, Marcus. I mean, I do have, I think, one topic, something I'm interested in, because we do say that to laugh, it makes you connect with people, but there is that intangible feeling that you have, whether you're starting to connect with someone that you know is there, but you don't know how to explain it. So, like, I want to talk about, like, maybe like the connection that you create with people, but like how it changes with time, and how it develops or just deteriorates, and how it affects you with your life. I don't know how to phrase it though.
Relationships?
Yeah, but not really. I mean, it's not like romantic relationship. Like, oh, I'm so in love with him. No, I'm not talking about that. It's
Well,
just like
that's
there
not
is
the
there
only
is the
meaning of a relationship. Relationship is I could have a relationship with a rock.
oh,
Yeah.
but okay, but
So
exactly. But let's say
human
it's with
connection.
a rock. The point is that sometimes, like, that there are specific feelings, whether they're romantic or not, that you associate with every single person. And I don't know if we can explore that a little bit further.
Okay, so the soul.
So human connection, is that what you're talking about? Is that
Yeah.
what
Human connection.
Okay, I'm gonna sell mine right quick because I feel like I didn't sell it enough. So what I mean like by senses and the soul is like basically, you know, where do you find truth, or what is it that's most important to you? Is like are you stimulated by your senses and that's like who you are, or is it the soul? Is it what's inside you? Does the soul exist? What is the soul? Like, and that's what I mean by senses and the soul. Like, what's the connection between the two? Is there a connection? What exactly? You know, that's kind of my topic.
Okay.
You
We
on
have
that one,
three.
Orlando. I like that one.
I was gonna say like we could discuss like white lies. Like, is it okay to say a lie if it's like a small lie and it doesn't hurt anyone, or is there repercussions to those lies?
Okay.
I think we did
So
something.
we're gonna start writing it down.
I got him already, Fernando.
Okay, so post them.
All right, does that it? Any
I
more?
think
Okay.
we have 4.
All right,
Marcus,
guys.
did you
So
have one?
just type the number in the chat that you'd like to pick.
Yeah, but after Orlando
Yeah.
post them.
Wait. Oh, what the? Enter. Oh, I have to click send. That
Just
makes.
please. Like, click the number. Like, there's no number there. So okay. Also lying. Ooh. I understood living.
Did you? You didn't even put mine in there, Orlando. All right, I see you.
My
All
bad.
right, you're
Wait,
cool.
what was yours, bro?
Are you cool, man? No, it's cool. It's all right.
No, oh, so sorry, Marcus, you're clicking out. No, honestly, I couldn't hear like what you were saying.
Okay. So far, I'm losing. That's not good. Dang it.
You ain't even get it. All right. That's cool. That's all right.
It's being hot. I'm gonna go with myself because I won't.
It's because you knew my topic was gonna win, huh, Orlando? Huh?
What are you talking about?
What did
bro?
you
I don't even
say? Like,
forgot what you
this
said.
is your topic.
Where did you?
We are not ready for your topic. That's all there is. But honestly, like, I couldn't hear your topic. I had no idea you were proposing something.
I didn't say it.
Mine's just losing, so I just gave it 3. I'm mad. Okay, what is it?
Okay, so
What's meaning? Like I can't even tell. Wait, what? Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I think 3 is in the lead right now, and 4 is in second place.
ooh.
So I don't know if we have like more people voting.
We have, let's see, we have 4, 8, and 14 people, I think, in here right
Okay.
now. Some of them are live already, but I think we have 14. So
10, 11. We have 3 more people that need to vote. So we'll give it like 2. Oh, dang it. Now it's a tie. Dang it, Luisa. Thanks,
Luisa, why? Oh, why?
thanks a lot, Luisa.
And
Dang
this
it.
guy is voting for number 2. That doesn't help at all. Who is missing? Who is missing to vote for number 3? There you go. No, but he already voted.
You already voted 3,
It
bro.
doesn't
You
help.
already voted.
Like, no, we need someone.
Wait, how many does 2 have? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, wait. 2, 3, and 4 are tied now. Actually.
Ah, come on.
Yeah, John. Actually, yeah. Go ahead and switch yours, John.
Uh, yeah, I won't ask Nancy to change his because he will vote for
It's like
anything
4's
except
gonna
mine.
4
It's
my
not, it's not worth it. I can't allow that. I'm so sorry.
I think 4
I
1.
didn't vote for mine. If I voted for mine would have won.
Ah, come on, John. Now
Four.
he's just messing with me.
I think this is hard to set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 4 1. 1, 2.
So close.
Mine wasn't even close.
John play against me. I will remember that. I will
2,
remember that.
3, 4. Yeah, 4 1. 4 got it.
Orlando, we can have a month devoted to metaphysical themes.
It's okay. Mine's lost, Jeffrey. It's okay. I called you Jeffrey. I don't know why.
Yeah.
That's so weird. You
Salty,
never call
that's
him Jeffrey. He's salty. He doesn't know how to lose. Oh my god.
Yeah, for real, Landon.
Next week's topic will be lying. because
Yeah,
you're all
Orlando
liars,
Silva.
'cause That's
Oh,
why you
yeah.
picked because you're liars. Now I see what kind of people we have on the show.
Yeah. Now I know who John really is. It's against me.
You think you know me, but you don't know me.
No, I know you today. You had the chance to reivindicate yourself and not just sell me out. Now I have to wait for another meeting. Oh my god.
I think we're going to find that lies are how we forge human connections. To your topic, Fernando.
Eh, eh, eh.
I'll say.
Yeah, spoiler alert, everything is a lie. Okay, well, congratulations, Vivian. You're the winner.
Thanks for all your sharing today, Professor Benton.
Yeah, thank you for
Hey,
the
guys,
help,
I
Professor Benton.
I think this is a,
Luisa Benton.
I think this is a revisiting to the topic, by the way, because I think we did it before.
Lying?
Yeah, we did lie before.
Lying and deception. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Deception, but that was like a year ago, I think. And it has a different approach, though.
That's true.
Yeah, the white lies in particular, the small lies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I did talk last week while I was driving.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
So take that.
Take that. Mm-hmm. That's true.
It doesn't make it any better if you don't talk. Sharing is caring. Especially when we're piling on Manzi.
Yeah,
That could
that's
be
true.
sharing.
That's true. Oh, well.
All right.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. It was fun.
Real quick,
No
feel free
pun
to visit
intended.
us. Visit us on social media. Go to our Facebook. Go to our Instagram. We got 250 followers. Join the party. Go to
Nice.
Twitter. We tweet regularly, semi-regularly. It's
So
not just
much
our own-
fun.
It's
I'll
cool
put the
stuff.
name of the Philosophy Club IG on the chat.
Awesome.
We had, but I think we have to change something on the website.
Yeah,
So-
we do need to change it. I have the info. I can send it to you guys. But that's the IG, guys. Go follow us there.
Yes.
Yeah. Shout out to Orlando for designing the logo.
Oh no, I didn't.
No. But he needs to do some adjustment to the logo. So it's too soon to tell him to stop. Please don't stop. Not yet. Finish the logo first.
Liar. I like
Liar.
that one. I like it.
All right.
Oh,
I don't know
Andy.
All right. Okay.
Well,
Thank you so
have a
much.
good one.
Who's all here
Have a
still?
good one.
Think about it.
Wait, it's not over. Dang, we
Oh,
still have
that's
people. Hey,
that's
guys,
that's
go.
your line to
We told
every
people, y'all can
podcast.
get out of here. Go
Yeah.
and get.
These are recorded and posted to YouTube. So if you want to see yourself on YouTube, go find the Philosophy Club YouTube channel. We
You're
go back
famous
6
now.
semesters.
You're famous, all of you. Yeah. Now you go and speak. Oh no, I'm on social media now. On YouTube famous.
What? What are you talking about?
Mama, look at me. I spoke of philosophy.
How dare you? How dare you
Alright.
besmirch
Let's talk.
I'm not. It's just funny. It's just funny.